Thank you for staying with us. It's time now to take a look at stories making headlines on Nigerian newspapers. And I begin with the First News newspaper. The major story here says CBN bows to pressure, raises individual cash withdrawal limit to 500,000 naira. Corporate organizations increased to 5 million 15 days after issuing policy. All the details on the front page of the First News newspaper. We move now to the Leadership newspaper. CBN bows to pressure, reviews cash withdrawal policy. Individual corporate bodies get 500,000 naira, 5 million naira weekly limits. Attending to health challenges, Emefiele tells reps. All right, all the details on the front page of the Leadership newspaper. To this Nigerian newspaper now. CBN backs down on naira withdrawal limit. This Nigerian newspaper, CBN backs down on naira withdrawal limits. That's on the front page of this Nigerian newspaper. All the details on the front page of this Nigeria newspaper. We'll move now to the Nigerian News Direct. Buhari seeks 819.5 billion naira supplementary budget 10 days to end of 2022. Buhari seeks 819.5 billion naira supplementary budget 10 days to end of 2022. You find the details on the front page of the Nigerian News Direct, Mike.
All right, mine here. Blueprint is where we're going next, and it says federal government requires 819 billion naira to fix infrastructure ravaged by flood. Federal government requires 819 billion naira to fix infrastructure ravaged by flood. That's what Blueprint has. And from there, let's go to the Daily Times. Daily Times says federal government to borrow 819.5 billion naira to supplement 2022 budget. Federal government to borrow 819.5 billion naira to supplement 2022 budget. Okay, that's what he has in there. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. Troops kills course of IPOB terrorists in Enugu, Ebonyi. Uncover decomposing bodies. DSS arrests masterminds of INEC attacks. Right? Troops kills course of IPOB terrorists in Enugu, Ebonyi, and uncover decomposing bodies as DSS arrests masterminds of Imo INEC attacks. And NSCDC uncovers dangerous group in security uniform. Okay, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust. Let's go to Business Day now. Business Day, and that's the last one we're looking at, right? Okay, no, not the last one. Business Day said Nigeria burns $685 million gas as flare sites project drags on. All right, that's what you see on the Business Day. From there, let's go to Punch newspaper, which is the last now. Depots dry up. Nigerians face bleak Christmas. Depots dry up. Nigerians face bleak Christmas. And this is focusing on fuel scarcity. Fuel queues worsen in Lagos. Others, marketers blame supply shortage, right? And interstate commercial drivers, passengers bemoan high cost of fuel and fares, right? Filling stations closed down over unavailability of petrol, and Nugasa laments. All this you find on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Veronica?
All right, Mike, let's quickly look at the story that is of interest to a majority of Nigerians, talking about the CBN reviewing its cash limit policy just 15 days after it was launched. Recall that yesterday we were talking about this, that the members of the House of Representatives had called the CBN governor to talk about this, let them better understand, since they know how this would impact the lives of their constituents, so to speak. So he did not show up for 2 of those times he was called. And like we mentioned yesterday, he gave reasons that it was official, but further details from, the statement that was put out and sent to the members of the National Assembly, that he is attending to official matters and also his health, and that they are looking to they have reviewed this matter from 100,000 naira for individuals. Over-the-counter withdrawal now can be 500,000 naira. Then for corporate organization, it's now 5 million naira, as against the 500,000 naira initially weekly. And then any amount above that would have a 3% and 5% percentage on that. And so, but then bowing to pressure. I mean, if you say this policy is in the interest of Nigerians and the country, would you just bow to pressure like that? I'm worried and concerned.
I know the issue there is the National Assembly is the representative of the people. If the National Assembly wields its power and authority to say, keep it there, don't do anything about it, it will remain so.
Stay action.
Stay action, exactly. That's the word I was looking for. If the National Assembly put its foot down to say stay action, it will stay action. Because ultimately, you cannot go to Bajimba village in Benue, or you go to Ikparakwa in Akwa Ibom to meet everybody, every Nigerian, to say, okay, what do you think? We want to redesign the Naira. What is your opinion? You cannot go to every village, nook and cranny of Nigeria to consult everybody. The National Assembly is a representation of everybody in Nigeria. So if you're talking of Sabongida Ora, there's somebody there representing at the National Assembly. If you're talking of anywhere, Kukawa, as the case may be. So the National Assembly is, when they speak for the people. And when they're telling you, this policy you're bringing will have a negative impact on my people. If Lagos is the most metropolitan part of Nigeria, which is Lagos, if Lagos and Lagosians don't have problem, and the man from Taraba says, well, for us in Taraba, some of our villages cannot have access to this, or for somebody in Kogi State who say, okay, no, our people are not ready for this yet, and all of that, they have to jiggle all of those things and ensure that everybody is on the same page. Now, this boils down to the issue of the consultation we often talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Of course. The president, the moment you are voted in as the president, it is assumed that everything you do, including your foreign trips, are to the interest of the nation.
Absolutely.
Right? Good. So if we want to go by the fact that, okay, the president can do it so long as he's president, anything he does, even if he borrows money, or even anywhere he travels to, is for the interest of Nigeria. So there's no need asking him any question. Just allow him to flow. If he goes on that way, there's going to be problems. So there is the need for constant consultation. This is what I am about to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is the benefits. These are the issues, the challenges I'm likely going to face, and so on. What do you guys think? The moment you have a situation like that, there won't be the issue of CBN bowing to pressure, as some of the headlines put it in there. Because the issue there is, at the end of the day, it tells you that there wasn't adequate consultation. As much as the CBN was conducting its role, this constitutional role that was given to it. Whatever the CBN is doing it based on the powers that it has as the CBN. But the point there is that you cannot do all of those things in isolation.
Especially members of the National Assembly. It seems that there wasn't enough consultation with those persons, because when the CBN governor went to see the president in Daura, he said he had explained to him and he got the support of the president, and that there were about 1.4 million super agents across the country. That in fact, when he stepped outside of the president's house, he saw a super agent who was carrying out his business, and he felt that there wouldn't be any issue. And so getting the backing of the president is final as far as things were for him, talking about the CBN governor now. And so it is interesting to see that this aspect, the National Assembly is saying, perhaps that is your conversation with the president. We are closer to the people.
Yeah.
And we understand how things are because we visit the constituency and we know what is lacking. And so we need you to look inwards at once you are saying you have the backing of the president. Yes, we know he's the president, but we know where he pinches the people.
Yeah.
We know where he pinches them.
No,
on their heels.
obviously, he had the backing of the president, and the president understood exactly what all of
we
these
were trying
things.
to achieve.
And the point there is, look at some of the reasons that were given. The CBN came out to say that about 85% of Nigerian currency
is out
there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
And they will need to mop it up.
Exactly. So if you look at it from that perspective, of course, you would say, yeah, of course, let's do whatever we have to do to bring in back the money into the system.
Yeah.
Now, shortly after that announcement, you saw viral videos of rotten cash in some people's houses, rotten monies in some people's votes.
Yes.
They were coming out. It tells you that, oh, really? So CBN
But
really...
doesn't this move now defeat the whole essence?
So the issue there is, at the end of the day, the CBN was hoping that the moment we mop up that money back into the system, redesign the currency, then from there, going forward, the cashless policy will become a little more firm, so that that leak that we often see, people, collecting monies from the system and I guess yesterday they used the word grabism. But the point there is that leak where people, siphon monies from the system and use, on the street, siphon monies from the system and use whatever, would have been curtailed to a great extent, so that when the CBN comes up with a policy, monetary, fiscal policy, all of those policies, they can have teeth and they can have effect.
Right.
But the reason that doesn't work when CBN is doing everything they can do and it doesn't work is because every money or majority of the currencies are in people's hands and pockets. So when the CBN is coming up with the policy is going to be carried out by the remaining 15% of the cash that is within the system and not the one on the streets. Because the point there is, if you have monies in your purse right now, you're moving mobile supermarket. If you have monies in there and you're traveling, nobody asks you how much you want to, why are you carrying this amount?
Like we see at the airport.
Except if you're traveling abroad and the customs will ask you how much money are you carrying there. Otherwise, if you're traveling within the country, nobody asks you any question. The only thing you'll be concerned with is the safety of the amount of money you're carrying. And then if you carry beyond the threshold, the EFCC can come for you if they have an idea.
Right.
But they can't open everybody's purses or everybody's boots to say, okay, how much do you have? They can't do that. So as the CBN is coming up with whatever policy, it will not affect you because you are doing your own thing. You're running your own little economy, your family economy the way you want, wherever you want. If you want to leave Lagos and go and invest in a house in Maiduguri, for instance, nobody's going to stop you.
Absolutely.
Right? If you decide, okay, I've invested, I've changed my mind, I want to leave to go and do it in Cross River, nobody's going to stop you. So these are the issues. So if there were robust consultation with all of the arms of government, stakeholders, the National Assembly is a major stakeholder that you can't ignore. You can't ignore it.
Yeah.
Right? Of course. Another thing there is there's the politics of, if you take it to National Assembly to get approval first, or you consult first, all of the issues might shoot it down to the level where you might never find a headway.
Absolutely.
Because the National Assembly is an institution of politics.
Yeah.
Right? Fine. So the politics that are involved, some members of the National Assembly would even be thinking, okay, what can I benefit from this? It's possible. I'm not saying that they say, but
that's why I use the word interest.
Yeah, there are so many interests.
Yeah.
There could be so many interests. And the so many interests could hamper the success of a redesigned Naira note, as the case may be, or the cashless policy, as the case may be. Nigeria is a signatory to the universal cashless policy, blah, blah, blah. They have all been to some of these international organizations and monetary. They are part of it. Some of the countries that had taken off with Nigeria have been implementing theirs. But for us in Nigeria, it takes us a long time. And that tells you that we still run a very informal economy.
That's it.
A lot of our businesses still run in a crude way. The way it ran 100 years ago is the same way some businesses are still running. I was telling you the other day, I did a report at the Mile 12. And some of the traders who transport yams and tomatoes and onions.
They don't have a bank
Don't
account.
have bank accounts. They run that's accounts they put here. They
And
tie.
they tie
Very
it.
good. That's the account they run. They have their money
Because
in cash.
they don't trust the system.
So
That's
the
it.
point there is when you tell them about going to open an account, they are telling you it takes time, the process is too long. They tell you to bring this and bring that and we don't have, as the case may. So when you have a situation like that, it tells you that enlightenment is also not adequate. So the issue is complicated.
Yeah, which goes to show that CBN still has a lot of work to do on the aspect of enlightenment, getting the unbanked to become banked at the end of the day.
Making it seamless and
making
easier.
it seamless, easy. Commercial banks do have their own aspects and all of it. But then again, we need to move forward. As a country, our economy needs to move forward. How this is going to... I'm just concerned, basically, with regards to mopping up that 85% of cash that's in the liquidity in the system and getting it back in the system, which is very crucial to our economy as it stands. We need to move forward now.